Om Shanti. In today's Murli, Baba talks about vices, donation of vices, and knowing, that you cannot take back what you have donated. So, do we know that you cannot take back what you have donated? So that's something that intuitively we know. I will tell you one incident. So there was this young girl who used to come to the center, and she's, born and brought up in these days culture. So these days, you know how the culture is. It's not like people who are 25, 30, they are different from those who are 16 and 17 of age these days. So she used to come to the center, and then one day she was crying, and I said, what happened? Then she said, I had gone to Bali or somewhere, she said, and then she said, I brought a very beautiful pendant for myself from there. And then I said, what happened then? Then she said, so my friend had come and she stayed overnight with me. And in the morning, she saw the pendant and said, oh, this is so beautiful. Why don't you give it to me? And then I couldn't say no. So I gave it to her. And then she took it and she was crying. She was crying badly. And then I said, okay, so if you're in so much pain, and so did you consider asking back for it? So, you could just tell her that I want it back. And then she just looked at me and she said, no, sister, you can't do that. You can't ask something back after you've given it. So I said, okay, so you have that much of value system. And then she said, yes, you can't take back what you've given. So I said, okay, then you better make peace with the fact that it's gone. So you see that even a 16, 17-year-old who we say these days, there are less value systems, and youngsters are not into so much of values. Maybe our idea of values and their idea of values doesn't synchronize most of the time. And yet I saw that this understanding that what you have donated can't be taken back is there. So in that case, it was not called donation, it was just giving to a friend. But then the same thing applies to donation. And then Baba today says that you have heard the story of Harishchandra. And in the story of Harishchandra in the scriptures, it is said that God tricked Harishchandra into donating everything he had in the dream. So, God came in his dream. And then he asked for everything he had, and then he donated it to God. And then next morning, so there was a claim made that you donated it in the night in your sleep. So now I have come to claim that. And Harishchandra did not deny it. He played along and he said, okay, now that I have donated it, I have donated it, and I will stick to that promise. Now, now we have to check deeply whether I understand that donation can't be taken back. And then here is Baba, and Baba is asking us for the donation of the 5 vices. And that's all he's asking. And I have to check deeply within myself whether I have donated the 5 vices. So how many of you have donated the 5 vices, have pledged that, okay, Baba, lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed, I give it to you. So have you donated? No, you've not donated only. So do you know that Baba has asked us to donate it? Yes, so today, and do you know that there is a thing about donation, that Turant Dan Mahapunya. So you have to donate fast. You cannot think about donating. If you think about it, you will end up not donating. So there is this, I will also tell you this story about this person who went to a satsang, and he was sitting there at the back in the audience. And then there was this Guruji, speaking, talking about the scriptures and the stories of the scriptures. And he was really motivated by all that speech. And then he thought, when that whole that plate comes where you donate, so there is that aarti ki thali, and then you donate in that. So he thought of a very big amount, and he thought in his sankalp he had that I will give this much in the aarti ki thali. And then as the speech proceeded, he thought, okay, I will donate this much. And then when the Aarti ki thali was coming, so when everyone was donating, so he saw the first line of people donated a lot, and then the second, and then he thought, okay, Guruji is pretty rich, so let me reduce the amount, okay. And then as the thali proceeded, and it was the third row and the fourth row and the fifth row, the thali was already full. And then by the time the thali reached that soul, he thought, okay, the thali is pretty full. Instead of donating, let me take something from it. And he just picked something from the thali and kept it for himself. So, this donation, the thought of donating gets weaker and weaker, when as time passes. So Baba says, donate now, right now. So if you have not thought about donating the 5 vices, at least make a sankalp right now. Don't take another moment to think about it, because the more time passes, the weaker your thought of donation becomes. And then Baba today says that if you donate the 5 vices and pledge and understand that you cannot take your donation back, then however many storms of Maya will come, and however many difficult circumstances you are in, you will not take back your vices, and then you will respond to the situation according to the powers and the virtues and the knowledge that Baba has given. Okay, so let's understand this phenomena. So, every day, nobody wakes up thinking that today I'll get angry and I will engage in lust and I will be very greedy and have a lot of attachment. Nobody thinks like that. Okay, so nobody plans to be vicious. Or sometimes, we even plan to be vicious. Like lust, greed, attachment, people plan also, because they have no understanding of how these vices are robbing us of spiritual strength. But at least we children understand this, so we never plan that. So we don't plan to be full of desire and attachment and lust and anger. We don't plan like that. But then what happens is, in the whole day, there are many situations and behaviors that we come across. And then because for 63 births, we have responded only through vices. So we don't know how to respond to anything other than viciously. So, whenever you are down and low, you think that, you know, the only way to boost yourself up is sensual pleasure. And then, you think about how if you had a lot of money, then you would be well off, and then you could afford this and afford that. And then you start thinking about how you need a human to support you and console you in this situation. You don't think about Baba, because that's how we have approached situations for all this time. So, in order that you use Baba's knowledge, Baba's support, Baba's strength, Baba's cooperation, you cross the situation with the power of virtues and powers, spiritual powers, rather than using the tools of anger and, shouting and screaming. So if somebody is not being good to you, what do? You shout at them. Or there is this thing that you don't tolerate it, you put your foot down. So everybody will tell you that you put your foot down in this situation. But then how many times will you put your foot down? Ultimately, your foot will ache. So, so you have to use virtues to cross the situation. And I will tell you one incident. So there was this sister, and her husband used to beat her up a lot. And then she called me once, and she was undertaking the course. And during that course, she said, Didi, everybody says that if you beat him back one time, then he will be okay, and then he will not, he will not dare to do that again to you. And then I said, so she said, should I take that path? Then I said, I don't think that Baba would say that, in order to extinguish fire, you use water, you don't use more fire. Yes, so what you do is you work on your state of purity and peace, and you work on your aura. So build your auric, self, and work on your energy field. And when you are in yoga with Baba, your aura will be different, and then the other person will behave differently with you because of who you are. And if you cannot work on yourself, then he is what he is, and you understand that anybody who is in anger is suffering a lot. And then by reacting the same way, you will also become like him. So don't go down that path. And then I said, you must donate your anger. So never say that the situation was so bad that I couldn't stop myself from getting angry, or I couldn't stop myself from getting hurt. So when we say donate ego means feeling superior to everybody. Yes, that is ego. But then feeling insulted is also ego. So nobody can insult me. Egoless means nobody can insult me. I can only insult myself through my actions. So nobody can insult me. So when you donate ego, you understand that if whatever somebody says or does cannot take away my respect, my self-respect is because of how Baba sees me. And if I do something against Srimad, then I lose my self-respect. Okay. So when you donate the vices, when you understand what is ego, understand what is anger, understand what is lust. So lust is not just engaging in physical, sensual pleasure, but lust is also drishti. Seeing the body is lust. So if there is lust, then you're seeing the body. So Baba says, when you donate all of these vices, then you understand that you will be able to deal with every storm of Maya through Baba's knowledge and virtues and powers. And if you have left that margin, that possibility inside, that if something too strong or too intimidating or too violent happens, or something goes out of hand, then I will use the method of lie, or I will use the method of anger, or I will use the method of, defaming somebody. So Baba says, you don't defame anybody. Never have that possibility. Sometimes you create a script inside of yourself and you say, if this person says this and this and this, okay, I'll tolerate. But if he crosses this line, then I will also say this. And I will also defame this person. And then I will also speak this lie and try to prove that I am true and I am right. Or I will disclose this one thing which will put him to shame, and then I will win over the situation. So Baba says, never have any intention, even so sometimes, we say, okay, this is not my first plan, but if this happens and that happens, then I will have to. So you've already signaled the universe that you will be able to do it. So then Maya will drive you to that point. And what Maya, I will tell you, a person also. So, I sometimes tell, sometimes when I have a conversation with somebody, I say that, okay, they say we intend to be nice. So I say, but I know that if I drive you to that point, you will get not nice also. So, even people know that if they drive you to that point, then you will speak this or do that. And then they drive you to that point. So think about how Maya must be knowing us. And then she acts through, situations and behaviors, and then she brings out that evil in us. So Baba says, donate your vices in such a manner that you have this firm understanding that come what may, I am not giving in to lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, complaint, fear, criticism. Okay, come what may, I am not taking that. And then it's not just that you donate and that's the end of the story. Then Baba says, you need strength also. So in Amrit Vela, you have to, build that stage, draw in so much of love and power and purity from Baba that you're able to stick to that promise that I will not take back my vices. Yes, and do you have that understanding and that realization of how these vices are robbing you of your spiritual strength and fortune? Because for 63 births, we have not considered vices to be our enemies. We have considered them to be friends. Yes, so we thought that being lustful is very fortunate, and having the opportunity to express a lot of anger is very fortunate, and having the opportunity to be very greedy and having people who love to be attached to you and love that you are attached to them is very fortunate. Or somebody boosts your ego all the time and you are able to throw tantrums is very fortunate. So we moved with this idea all the time, and then we thought that our problem is not the vices, but our problem is the situations and people who obstruct our supply of the vices. Yes, did we think like that? Yes, we thought that lust is great, but if there is a situation or a person who is not allowing me to be lustful, then that's a problem. We thought that, yes, we thought that if there is this one brother and he told me that, married life was great, but because my wife died, I am in pain. So I was enjoying my life and there was a lot of lust and it was all good. but then my wife died, and that's the problem. And now I cannot control my drishti, and then sometimes people get that, they figure out that I have a bad drishti, and then I'm looked down upon, and that's the problem. So I said, no, it's not, your wife died is not the problem, that's drama. Your problem is you didn't work on your drishti. Yes, so people don't think that drishti is the problem. People don't think that lust is the problem. People think that the wife maybe died early. So if she stayed longer, then I would have been okay. But then the wife has to die when she has to die. Who can prolong that? So everybody has to come and go whenever they are destined to come and go. And it is our problem if we think that, something or someone is the foundation of my life and my happiness. So vices make you believe that people, places, and things are the foundation of your inner world. And then your inner world is bound to be disturbed when people, places, and things are not there. But that's what vices teach us. So vices teach us that when there is no supply of sensual pleasure, then getting upset is natural and normal. Or when there is dearth of money, then obviously I'll be upset. And then, so this is the language of greed, this is the language of lust, this is the language of attachment. So if somebody is not talking to me properly, or nobody loves me in the world, or nobody says, I love you morning, day and night, then I have to feel like I'm unwanted and I don't have what I deserve. So this is the language of attachment. So these vices are teaching us otherwise. And then we think that destiny is the problem, that scenes in the drama are the problem, and then people not behaving our way are the problem, and then things and objects not coming our way the way we desire them is the problem. But no, that's not the problem. Yes, the problem is that we think that vices are our birthright and that we have protected them so much and never tried to work on them. We have cultivated them, we have increased their volume and momentum, and that's why we are in trouble. So Baba today says that you should have conversations of truth with everybody. And the truth is, so, people have in the world, we are trained to play the blame game. And we always think that the truth is that someone is wrong, someone is bad, something is not there, or, situations are not okay and some situations are not going my way. That's the truth. But Baba says the truth is not that. The truth is you are a soul. And you took 84 births. And according to the law of entropy, you lost your power, spiritual power, because Ravan entered. And those 5 vices robbed you of your spiritual capacity. And that's why you started depending on people, places, and things for a stable inner state. And then the truth is, you cannot get back to peace and happiness until you donate your vices and start working with Baba's knowledge, virtues, and powers. And for that, you need to meditate. You need to have yoga. And only when you sit in Baba's remembrance. So, the Baba always says, remember me. And the thing is, we remember everybody other than Baba. Why? Who has taught us to remember everybody other than Baba? So why is it so difficult to remember Baba? Because vices teach us to remember people, places, and things. sometimes fondly, sometimes despicably, but then vices teach us to always, all the time, keep remembering people, places, and things. And then Baba says, now you have to make an effort. So, in action, donate vices, don't take them back, come what may. However much storms of Maya are there, don't take the vices back. This is one thing. And second thing is, withdraw your attention from people, places, and things, because Maya makes you think about them. And connect your yoga with Baba. Just think about Baba and Baba's knowledge and Baba's virtues and powers. And Baba says, this is how you go back to your peace and happiness. So others are not your enemy. Your enemy is your vices. And Baba says, this is the truth. The truth about the soul, the truth about the journey of the soul, the truth about who God is and what He wants, and the truth about drama, that this drama is so designed that everybody who was in the Sato Pradhan stage has to eventually come and fall in the Tamo Pradhan stage, because that's how, this drama is descending with time. So Baba says, this is the truth of the drama that you have to hold in your buddhi. And you have to hold these all truths in your buddhi and work with this truth. And judge what is right and what is wrong. Baba says, now you know what the truth is and you also realize what is false. So when somebody says that your problem is the body, or your problem is that person, or your problem is the situation, or your problem is COVID, no. That's not our problem. Our problem is fear. Our problem is, the vices within. And even the immunity is connected to the vices. So Baba says, we need to understand the truth and the falsehood and also have conversations about the truth. And it's not just that we know the truth, but also when somebody comes and they are in pain, you need to tell them what is the truth of their pain and what is the real remedy of their pain. So Baba says this. And then Baba says something else, and Baba today says that if you get repeatedly beaten up by Maya, then you will become very weak. Yes, so if Maya is able to, if somebody stays, so, situations will come and go. And then if you are always fearful, then fear becomes very difficult to remove. If you're always creating worry, then anxiety becomes a part of the personality and very difficult to remove. If you're always angry, then you will have physical repercussions and mental state born out of that, which will be very difficult to, shift again. So Baba says, if you keep giving in to Maya, and Maya is always able to trick you into getting afraid or worried or angry or lustful, then it will become increasingly difficult for you to change that state of mind and change the sanskars that you've created by engaging that way. So don't make the journey more and more difficult by getting weaker and weaker, by getting blown away by the blows of Maya every day. So this also Baba tells us. And then Baba today says something very, very important. Baba today says, some children ask, Baba, have I made a mistake? Then Baba would say, the number one mistake is that you're not doing any service. And because of that, your status will be destroyed. Yes? So, see, this is the only time in the whole of the cycle when we know how to do real service, spiritual service. Yes, we know how to lift souls from sorrow and pain by contributing through our body, mind, and wealth, by speaking the knowledge to them. And Baba says, if you lose this opportunity, and this service is the way to create a spiritual income. And if you lose this opportunity of Sangam Yug, when you have the knowledge and the capacity to serve, then you are missing out on that opportunity to create your fortune of 21 births. And Baba says, this is the greatest mistake that you make. So this is Baba's Vani today. And then Baba talks about the balance of love and law today. And so it is in the Loveleen Sthiti ki point. And I will first read that out and then we will understand it. Baba says, according to the time, you need to have a balance of love and law. Let there be love experienced in the law. For this, become an embodiment of soul-conscious love. For only then will you be able to be cooperative in finding a solution to every problem. As well as giving teachings or corrections, to give cooperation is to be an embodiment of soul-conscious love. Okay, so Baba says that, we are pretty much living in a lawless world. Yes, and yes, there are physical laws, but then spiritual laws and understanding of spiritual laws and living your life by those laws is not there. Yes, so the discipline of life, the discipline of thought, the discipline of drishti, all of that is not there. The discipline of what karma you should do or not do is not there. So there is absence of law in the world. And Baba calls us lawmakers. Yes, so in Satyug, the deities are called Maryada Purushottam. So what is Maryada Purushottam? Every single aspect of their life is Maryadit. It is according to the laws. So they never talk out of line, they never see out of line. Their vision, their thought, their action, their lifestyle is all in consonance with the spiritual laws, in consonance with the virtues of the soul. Yes, they never cross their line. They are not under the influence of vices or laziness or fear or anything. Now Baba says, obviously when you're lawmakers, first thing, you lead your life according to spiritual laws. And then you also teach somebody else. Yes, so let's take one example. So when somebody comes and lives in the center, so you will obviously teach them to wake up at 4 a.m. Yes, you will not encourage them to sleep as much as they want. So that's not the law. So you are a lawmaker. You are sticking to the law, and then you teach others also to abide by the law. But then you have to do it with love. Yes, you have to do it with soul-conscious love. Now, there is one body-conscious love which believes in making the soul happy by allowing them to do whatever they want. That is body-conscious love. But soul-conscious love is you make the soul do what Baba has prescribed, but then you make them do that lovingly, not by wagging a stick at their face. So let me give you one example. So when Prakashmani Dadiji was, the in charge, and she was the chief administrative head of Brahma Kumaris, and then there was a young sister who had come to, be with Dadi and take care of her and take care of, whatever she needs and other things. So she was there, and then this sister wouldn't wake up in the morning. So she's supposed to take care of Dadi, but then Dadi is waking up and she's not waking up in the morning. And then what Dadi used to do is, Dadi used to wake up, just broom the floor. So she used to do the jhadu and everything, because that's the first thing she did after keeping the place clean was what she did after meditation. And then she made tea, and then she woke that child lovingly. Okay, and then again, after that child woke up in good spirit, then obviously when they read the Murli and understood the Murli, then they realized what mistake they are making. And then slowly, gradually, that mistake got corrected. So, there is loveful cooperation needed. So when you want the law to be there, so it's not just like you make tea and don't make them read the Murli. So you are letting Baba do his work also. And then when there is a space where you can talk and that person is in receiving mode, then you're also letting them know the importance of getting up in the morning and the importance of creating your spiritual stage. And then while they are sleeping, you are not like, not shouting or screaming in the morning, and then you're not trying to just tell them what they need to correct early in the morning. So that's now not how it's done. So Baba says you have to be very wise. When there is soul conscious love means when there is genuine interest in the growth of the soul. When the interest is very genuine, the interest is not selfish. It's not about what you want from them. Because, when you focus on what you want from them, then their needs, they just disappear from your vision. Then you can't see what they want or what weakness they have and what is it that you can give so that they can overcome their weakness. So every soul does what they do because they are weak. And a weak soul doesn't only need teaching. So they need teaching, of course, because there is very less understanding also. But then they also need cooperation of your love and power so that they can also come back to their spiritual strength. So Baba says, and when there is no haste to get what you want from them, and there is a genuine interest in their growth, then there is patience and there is that compassion. And in that patience and in that compassion, you are able to figure out what is it that is lurking inside them like a weakness. And because of that weakness, they are not able to follow the discipline that they should. And then you give the support of your virtues. Sometimes you're patient, sometimes you're tolerant, sometimes you're sweet, sometimes you're humble, sometimes you are able to, you are able to encourage them and uplift them. So Baba says, you give them the support of your virtues and spiritual power so that they can come back to being themselves. And Baba says, when there is no soul conscious love, then finger wagging and just telling them you need to correct this and you need to correct that will not help. So when there is soul conscious love, then there is correction and also cooperation. And with that cooperation of what? Cooperation of your virtues and your powers. So you can be sweet, loveful, you can be, if they are fearful, you can show your courage. So sometimes, people are very afraid to walk on the path of spirituality, and you can give them courage by being courageous and fearless in that situation. And sometimes, people are not able to take strict action, so you can be loveful in that case. Or sometimes people don't have the capacity to tolerate too much. So everything can be said and done in a soft and sweet manner. So Baba says, when you cooperate with the strength of your virtues and powers, then that is called soul conscious love. And the only way to enforce law is through this soul conscious love. Okay.